What's up YouTube, NCG here, bringing you a link-ready Pendulum Magician deck profile. Without further ado, I'm going to crack straight into it and we're going to go through what each card, not what each card does, but why each card is at what they're at and just why the deck's the way it is. So, we start off with Triple Purple Poison Magician. Now, this one kind of needs very minimal explaining. The fact that when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, it pops one card on the field is awesome. And then during the battle step, you can give a Dark Spellcaster an extra 1200 attack. It's a must-have at 3. I think it's probably the best magician alongside Triple Black Fang Magician. Now, I usually put in these two in the scales purely because their destruction effects are probably the best two of the lot. Black Fang's effect, when it's destroyed by battle card effect, it revives a Dark Spellcaster type monster from your graveyard. So it's any Dark Spellcaster type monster. It doesn't need to have a specific level or anything like that. As long as it's even an extra monster, as long as it's been successfully summoned. And then obviously its a Pendulum effect is it can boost half one of your opponent's current attack until the end of this turn, and then you destroy this card, and you know that's kind of how the magicians work. Triple Harmonized Magician, again, incredibly strong. It's a 1-card rank 4 or level 8 synchro. It's very, very good, very, very important in the deck. It's kind of what helps it succeed so much in link format. Triple Perform Power Skullcrobat Joker. This card can pretty much search out your entire monster lineup, excluding, obviously, some of the non-pendulums you play and Astrograph Sorcerer. Triple Wisdom Eye Magician. Now, obviously, we all know why this card was so important, because you could pop it and flood up your extra deck. Now, the good thing about the deck in itself is, even if you still flood out your extra deck, you've got so many cards that can add it back from your extra deck to your hand, and then you've got the extra monster zone, which some people need to remember as well. It's actually treated as like a 6th monster zone. So if you pendulum summon 5 from hand and 1 from, and this guy from your extra deck, you still have plays to go. And it's quite easy accessible just to make a decoder naturally. Then I'll do that one last. Let's go with the 2 Double Iris Magician. Now, the reason I play this at 2 is because it's probably the least, well, not the least. I don't prefer its effect. I think its effect is good for the search and that, but I think at 3 it's just a little bit too cloggy. I don't want to always see this, but I do want to be having like Venom and Black Fang in my scales. Double Astrograph Sorcerer. This is an amazing hand trap card. So good. It special summons itself and then replaces whatever monster was destroyed. Well, it basically just happens when any card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect. You then get to special summon this out. So it works quite a lot like Magician of Black Illusion. If your opponent strikes a monster effect, it destroys that card. You can then not chain, but because it's resolved, you then go, cool, because you destroyed my monster, I get to special summon on a new chain Astrograph Sorcerer. And then Astrograph Sorcerer can target any of those cards that were destroyed, and then add one of those back to your hand, which is very, very good. And then we go with the 2 card that makes this deck so much better in Link, or revives it in Link, is Oath Dragon Magician. And the reason this is so good is because if you do double Wisdom Eye, you can add one of them Wisdom Eyes back from your extra deck to your hand, and then kind of go again. And Oath Dragon can then also help if your extra deck gets flooded with the monsters, can help recycle them and go again. Also, the 2 scale helps out massively, because it's a lower scale, it balances out the deck. Double Dragon Pulse Magician. Now, these are 2 natural ways of getting into Link Spider, as well as having probably the better, or a very good Pendulum effect by discarding 1 and popping 1. But it's also an 1800 vanilla beta, which works out really, really nicely in this deck, and the rank 4. So this deck is focused on the lower end of the Magician scale. Obviously, you can put in the other vanilla, the level 7, and you can probably go for more of an odd eyes build, focusing around the level 7s and level 6s, and so on. But I quite like focusing on the rank 4 engine. And then we go with the 1 White Wing Magician, purely because this can help get you double Omega. Believe it or not, you can actually make double Omega in this deck quite easily. And, you know, Omega is the most broken extra deck card at this moment in time in this format, purely because you make it in your extra monster zone, you banish it, you take 1 from your opponent's hand, make another one, do the exact same, banish it, take 1 from your opponent's hand, and then during your next standby phase, they're both coming back to your main monster zones, so your extra deck monster zones aren't really filled up or used up with an Omega. And then we go on to Double Fairy Tale Luna. Now, I love this card so much. You normal summon the first one, you search out the second one, use this one's effect to bounce itself and bounce one of your opponent's monsters, and then you pendulum summon both of these back out, and you've got a during either player's turn double bounce. It's just that good. And then, unfortunately, we do have to play triple Blackwing Gofu. Now, the reason I say unfortunately is because every link deck at this moment in time, like 90% of the link decks are going to play Gofu. Now, there is a very, very valuable reason, and if you haven't seen the link combo, please check that out and link in the comments below. I did do that last Thursday, I believe. He's just a one-card deco talker, and all he takes is 3 spaces in your extra deck. Yes, it's a drown to take 3 out of your extra deck, but if you can kind of wiggle the room to accept that and make that, it kind of then unlocks your deck for maybe later games or earlier games. So that's it for the monster lineup. As you can see, a very hefty monster lineup, but the majority of those are pendulums. So the idea is you open up with your scales one way or another. Then onto the spells, we play triple Pendulum Call. Again, this is very, very important in the deck. The fact you pitch 1 and then add 2 is incredibly important and can just be massively, massively pivotal in the deck. Sorry, you can pitch a dead Gofu and then go that way. So you've actually got fodder for it, which is a lot easier than going, do I need to pitch this scale, that scale, or whatever. Double Duelist Alliance. Now, 2 Duelist Alliance is more than enough. It's basically a like a 4th and a 5th Pendulum Call, because 9 times out of 10 you'll search out your Pendulum Call. Unless you open up with a Pendulum Call and then you're searching out your Time Star and Time Pendulum Graph and Star Pendulum Graph. Next up, we play Double Allure. Now, you can play Triple Allure. The only reason I've done double is because I'm not 100% set on it yet. Ideally, your Allure targets are going to be your Gofus when they're dead, but then you do also have the option of using an Astrograph Sorcerer if you want to. You don't have to. An Iris if you want to, but you don't have to. A Joker if a Joker becomes 2 rund. Harmonizing during late game. Black Fangs and Purple Poisons. Now, you don't really want to be doing your Purple Poisons and Black Fangs. They're kind of like your last choices or worst case scenarios. The main targets you probably want to be banishing off your Allures will be dead Gofus, dead Jokers, purely because they're the worst ones, but the worst ones in the sense that you don't mind if they're banished because you've already used their effects. But we do have so many targets for Allure. I mean, that's 12 just there, and then you're looking at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So you've got 19 Allure targets. So for a little bit of draw power, it's not that bad. And then we finish it off with the 1-star Pendulum Graph and the 1 Raigeki. Now, obviously, Star Pendulum Graph is awesome. At 1 is just enough because you don't want to flood it. The trap card is so much more important, but it doesn't mean that Star Pendulum Graph is any worse off of rare. You probably search it out more so than wanting to open up with it. And then a Raigeki just for all of those important board wipes. Then we wrap it up with the traps, which is 2-time Pendulum Graph. Such a broken card. So damn good, it's unreal. If you target 1 Pendulum card you control, Pendulum Magician I believe it is, and then you target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them both. If you didn't destroy 1 card with that effect, you then get to use its second effect to send a card, which is absolutely awesome. And then if you pop your Purple Poison, you're still getting 2 pops anyway. Not to mention, the first effect on this and your first effect on your Star Pendulum Graph is, your Star Pendulum Graph is, your spellcaster type monsters can't be targeted by spell effects, and this one can't be targeted, make sure monsters can't be targeted with trap cards or effects. So that's awesome. And then Solemn Warning, because it's the out to absolutely everything in the game. Now we go on to the extra deck. So we start off with the 1 Supreme King Zark. You can still make it in the deck. It might be a very, very late game kind of play, but it can work out and it can then change the balance of the game for you completely. Then we go on to the rank 4 engine, so we play a Perform-Based Trapeze Magician. This helps you OTK, really, really strong card. And what you have to remember is you don't take damage less than. It's not like effect damage or anything like that. It's actual damage in general. So you never take damage if the amount is less than or equal to this card's attack. So if he stays on the field, what you've got to remember is you never take damage if it's less than 2,500. So, that's just awesome. Abyss Dweller, because, there are graveyard effects you do want to be stopping. Tornado Dragon, because, it's a really, really good card. Not only for popping your opponent's back row, but also for popping your own scales. It can actually help your plays extend and go a hell of a lot further. Okay, so that's it for the Tornado Dragon. Like I said, it can help you out both popping your opponent's back row and popping your own scales to help your plays extend. And then we play double Time Star Magician. This card is very, very good, and it's probably your go-to card if you're not going into a synchro, purely because A, it protects your Pendulum cards by sending 1 from deck to grave instead, and then secondly, it searches you out your Astrograph Magician or Sorcerer, and it also searches you out you know, pretty much anything else, like your Perform Power Skull Bat and stuff like that. And then to finish off the XYZ engine, now you can easily play the Utopia and Lightning one, but I feel that the Broad Ball into Dryden is more of a defensive one, purely because your opponent has to then worry about it. The pop effect during either player's turn can be very, very powerful. And obviously, if you're finding yourself that you don't want to go into don't want to go into Tornado Dragon, then you go into Zodiac and Broad Ball, and then Dryden, and then you've got a disruption effect, even if you just go pop and pop. Yes, it won't have any attack, but it can be quite disruptive. Like I said, your alternative is Utopia and Utopia Lightning, which is perfectly fine as well. Now onto the Synchros. We play the one Stardust Dragon. Again, because it works quite nicely like Cypher Lord Omega, it tags out and then comes back to a main monster zone. It's very, very important in the deck. And then, speaking of which, Cypher Lord Omega, which has now become a lot easier for everyone to get since the reprint in Legends of Light or Battles of the Legends. And then we go with the one Bills because it's still a pain in the arse for people with Dracos to deal with, and it's still incredibly strong. And then the one Ignister because again it's still very, very strong. The whole non-targeting pop and bounce is very good, especially if you pop like your purple poison. Not only are you going to spin one card, you're then going to pop one card as well. And then we wrap it up with the Link cards. So you play double Link Spider and a single Decode Talker. Now, obviously, if you don't open up the GoFu and you do need to get into these guys, the Decode Talker is actually still quite easy to do. It just costs you the 3 monsters. Whereas if you open up the GoFu, you just go GoFu straight away into this guy, and then you can extend your plays even more. And I think like one of the best boards you can end with is obviously Decode and then 2 extra dead monsters linked to him, which then gives him a negate, and not to mention a 1k boost. Then again, if your opponent also has a monster in front of him, he gets another 500 boost. So Decode is actually really, really important. This will, like, you'll probably add in maybe like Firewall Dragon or stuff like that when he does drop, which is, I think it's next week, I believe. I think Sneak Peek's this weekend. So yeah, that will, you know, you'll probably add those in if you want. But like I said, you don't have to play GoFu and you don't have to play the Link cards. The deck can still run on its own, and it still can be very, very strong and very, very disruptive. So I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, guys, see ya.